The long final backswing. Now, I've talked about this in previous videos where a player will do their feathers up to the shot and then on the final pullback they'll pull the cue all the way back before striking the cue ball. Now, sometimes this can confuse people. Should I be doing this on every single shot? And also, why is it useful? Why is a player pulling the cue all the way back? So in this video, we're going to look at why we do it and sometimes why we don't need to be doing it as well. So why as players do we need to use this long backswing then? So the common thing that people will think is, well, if I play the shot and I don't bring the cue back very far to begin with, well then I haven't got to push it forward as far and there's less room for things to go wrong. And of course, that to some extent is true, that if you only bring the cue back a small amount, you've only got to get it forward that same amount, so there's less room for things to go wrong. If we start using this, if I just put a bit of chalk on, if we start using this long backswing and we come all the way back, then there's more room for things to go wrong is what people worry about. And at first that is probably true when you're first learning to do it. Obviously you need the muscle memory of using a nice long backswing. So I think that's the first thing that people think, well, you know, there's more room for things to go wrong. But the problem is there's lots of shots in snooker where I've got to play them hard, so I can't possibly use that small backswing. So let's say, for example, I was playing this red here with top and left and I want to get the white moving. If I only use a small backswing, it means I've got to very quickly accelerate the cue forward. And I just haven't got much movement on the cue ball there because there wasn't enough of a runway to get the cue ball moving. So let's say, for example, I play that shot again. And this time I'm going to use my nice long backswing so I've got a nice runway when I play the shot. So let's try that. So I'm going to aim up the same on the shot, using a bit of top and left, and then pull the cue right the way back and then right the way forward. And you see that time I've just generated a lot more movement out of the cue ball. And obviously that helps me to keep the muscles nice and relaxed in my arm. It's a little bit backwards to how people think. So it's a really useful thing that you need to try and incorporate into your game. Let's do some examples of when it's useful and when it might not be necessary. Now on this medium distance green here, I want to pop the green and bring the white off the side cushion here and down for the two reds. Now this is a great example of where if a player doesn't use a long backswing, they'll really struggle to get the cue up to speed and generate all the spin on the cue ball. So let's have a look. I'm just going to move the blue out the way just so that the camera can see the cue. So I'm going to use a short backswing on this first one. And when are we talking about this backswing? We're not on about this distance here. This is my normal bridge length that I would normally use. The backswing length is just how much I'm going to pull the cue back on the final backswing. So not where your bridge is. Okay, so I'm going to use a small backswing here. So I'm going to pull the cue back and then generate maximum screw. And we see there, I've kind of got down for these reds. I've almost managed to do it, but not quite. I'm going to play that shot again, and this time I'm going to use my nice long backswing. Right, so I'm standing up behind the shot, chalk my cue. Now, I'm going into the shot, and the bridge distance is the same, but the final pullback is going to be longer. So check all the aiming, pull the cue right the way back, and then right the way through it. And you see that time that the pot was much more accurate because I'd got a nice long runway. And also there, we see that I was easily able to generate all of the spin on the cue ball. The cue ball really came zipping back. Now, obviously, that is going to take practice to have the muscle memory to do it, but those are the reasons why you do it, because it's not possible on that shot for me to get the cue smoothly up to speed, generate the power that I need, and all the spin on the cue ball to get that nice screw shot. Another great example is splitting the pack from the blue here. I've made a mark so we can play two from the same position again. Now I've got to generate a lot of spin and a lot of power here. So I'm lining up the shot. This is only a small backswing, so a small backswing and then play my shot. So you see I went into the reds. I've lost the whites slightly, so I did manage to go into them. They haven't moved around very much because it was difficult for me to get the cue up to speed. Let's play another one with a longer backswing. Right, so let's do it again with a longer backswing. It's going to be much easier now for me to stay nice and relaxed, be nice and smooth. So I'm going down into the shot. I can generate more power, a bit more spin now. So go right the way back, keep still, pop the blue right into the heart of the reds. And you see the way that time I was able to very smoothly get the cue up to speed. No tension, generate the spin much more easily. And look at the split on the reds there, much better. Now here's an example of a slightly different shot. I've got too much angle on the black here, and I'd love to hold the white for these two reds. Now, this shot, of course, requires maximum spin, but for hardly any power. So here, it's interesting. If I use my normal bridge and I was to aim the shot, and then I go right the way back, and then I'll go through it, there's a good chance I'm going to lose the cue ball up the table there. So this is a shot where it's a little bit the opposite. You don't need to have a backswing that's quite as long on a shot like this. Let's have a look. Now this shot is actually the opposite of the ones that need a long backswing. I'm trying to get here maximum spin for minimal power. So I'm going to hit the ball very low and I'm going to hit the ball very soft, which means I don't need that long backswing. So let's have a look at this shot then. So I'm actually going to shorten up my bridge slightly. So you'll see a player get a bit closer with their bridge like this. So my hand is actually closer to the ball because I'm trying to get lots of purchase on the cue ball. The second I hit it, I want it to bite. And I'm going probably not to absolute maximum screw position here, but I'm closer in. And then I don't need a long backswing, just a gentle little shot. And then that time, you can see that the cue ball has managed to hold for those two reds. So that's a very important shot where I think people get confused. They think, I'm meant to be using this long backswing. But on a shot like that, it's the smallest amount of power for the maximum amount of spin. Now in this last example, I'm clearing the colours. I've landed here on the blue. Now this isn't a nice shot because the white is very close to this side cushion. So a lot of players might think, obviously, my bridge is restricted here, but a lot of players think, okay, I've got to try and use this long backswing and then play the shot. But it's really easy with that long backswing to just decelerate slightly as you're hitting the cue ball. And especially at the top of the cue ball, you've got to be very, very accurate. So this is a shot where we don't need that long backswing. We actually want to shorten up a little bit. So we can make sure that, we're queuing up to the shot, and then you only need a small pullback, keep still, and then you can play the shot much more positively, and the white will run forward, leaving a nice shot on that pink. So that's an example there. Make sure you're not going too far back, because then you'll be decelerating at the time that you hit the cue ball. So thanks a lot for watching, everybody. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, remember to give it a like. If you're new to the channel and you haven't already subscribed, please consider subscribing. That just really helps me to keep all these instructional videos coming regularly. For anyone that's interested in any personal one-to-one training sessions, I'm working on this very table, helping players to improve their game all the time. So if you look in the description box below, you'll see all my details there. Get in touch, and I'd love to help you personally with your game. And as always, I'll catch you all in the next video. Cheers.